everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm Ava, your host for today's ride through the kind of wild world of U.S. finance. Yeah, buckle up. We've got so many moving parts right now. Rate cuts, global trade reset, liquidity stress, tech hitting crazy highs. So grab your drink, lean in, you'll want to hear this. And with me today is macro strategist extraordinaire Leo Park. Leo, hey, how are you? How's your coffee?
Hey, Ava. I'm good, thanks. Coffee strong, mine ready. And yeah, wild tape, but let's dig in.
Okay, first thing, big headline, the Federal Reserve cut interest rates again. Yep, down to around 3.75 to 4.00% target. But here's the kicker. The Fed said another cut this year is not guaranteed. In fact, they warn data's pretty murky because of the shutdown. Leo, what does that mean practically for someone like me or you or the folks at home?
Right. So, in plain English, lower rates equal relief for borrowers. But the not guaranteed part, that's caution. Because the government shutdown is messing with data. Job numbers, inflation prints, they're delayed or unreliable, so the Fed is driving in the fog. They don't want to slam the accelerator or hit the brakes too hard. For everyday folks, if you're thinking about borrowing, refinancing, maybe it's a moment, but don't assume rates will keep dropping. And if job data weakens further, yeah, it could get uglier.
Driving in the fog, I like that. So if I'm thinking, should I lock in a mortgage now or wait for another dip? What's your call?
If you need to buy or you found your home, lock in. Because if data surprises to the upside, meaning inflation or growth picks up, rates could rise. If you're just hoping for a lower rate and you can wait, float for a little, but set a clear threshold where you say, okay, I lock now. Because blind waiting can be costly.
Good advice. All right, next, global stuff. The Donald Trump-Xi Jinping meeting, we're seeing a potential one-year trade deal between the U.S. and China. Rare earths, semis, agricultural imports. That's big. And also, kind of under the radar for regular folks. Leo, walk us through why this matters not just for markets, but for your average person.
Yeah, so think of it like this. Industries that depend on rare earths and semiconductors, electric vehicles, defense, high-tech manufacturing, those supply chains are deeply intertwined. If trade barriers ease, costs drop, output rises. That means jobs, new factories, maybe less pain in your electronics or car bills. But if things waver, tariffs stay, then inflation stays higher, supply chain disruptions hit again, and that can seep into broader economy. So for average person, keep an eye on your industries. If you're in manufacturing, tech, even farming, this is your map. For investors, risk off if the deal collapses, risk on if it holds.
Makes sense. And it kind of ties back to liquidity, because I saw a story, there's this looming liquidity crunch in the U.S. financial system, repo markets, bank reserves. That sounds scary. Is that just for the big boys or something that touches all of us?
It does sound scary. But yes, it starts in the big boys domain. Banks, short-term funding, repo markets. But it can trickle down. When liquidity tightens, credit becomes more expensive. Banks pull back, lending slows. That can hit consumers and small business. So yeah, watch it. For entrepreneurs, your line of credit might face tighter terms. For employees, if credit is tighter, businesses invest less, hiring slows.
So not just rich people's problem, everyone plays. Now, consumer spending. Good news, U.S. consumers are still spending. The U.S. bank data shows aggregate spending growth remains strong, but sentiment's down. So a weird mix. What's your take?
Yeah, so spending's holding up largely because wages have trended up. People built savings during the pandemic, stimulus spilled over. But sentiment being down means folks are cautious. They may spend, but they may also delay big-ticket items. For markets, as long as spending holds, earnings look okay. But if sentiment drops further and spending rolls over, that's the first warning light.
We're going to pull all this into what you should do in just a minute, but first, the tech story. The NVIDIA Corporation milestoned, first company ever to hit around 5 trillion market cap. Crazy, right? And this despite all the macro noise. What's going on?
It is crazy, but also not totally surprising if you've been watching AI infrastructure. NVIDIA has become this core piece of the AI arms race. Chips, data centers, custom silicon. Investors are betting on growth. The risk multiples are huge. Competition is fierce. Costs are high. So if NVIDIA or its peers mess up execution or unit economics slip, you'll see a rough re-rate. But for now, the market's given the benefit of the doubt.
Let's tie this back to you at home. Say I'm not an investor in NVIDIA, but I do have a 401k or something. Should I, up my weight in tech now?
Good question. If you have a long horizon, 10 years plus, and you believe in growth, sure, overweighting tech makes sense. But if you have shorter horizon, 5 years or less, or you rely on your investments for near-term goals, diversify. Tech may lead, but when growth slows or costs catch up, you'll want ballast. Value sectors, international, even cash.
Okay, I'm feeling energized. Next, labor market. We've got layoffs in big firms, hiring slowdowns. The job market isn't collapsing, but it's shifting. How do you read this?
Exactly. It's not collapsing, but the pace is decelerating. That's critical because businesses plan with the assumption of growth. When growth dips, you'll often see hiring freeze before layoffs. So if you're in an industry tied to consumer durable goods, tech services, or credit-heavy sectors, watch incoming layoffs or freeze announcements. For regular workers, keep your skills sharp, have a backup, monitor your industry.
And now, homeowners or renters, with all this data mixed, what should they think about?
For homeowners, if you locked in earlier at a good rate, great. If you're looking now, pick up 2 lender quotes, see if you qualify for float down or rate lock, then decide. Renters, interest rate environment keeps buying more expensive, but if you don't see yourself staying more than 5 years, it may still tilt towards renting. Keep your debt load manageable.
Love it. And finally, small business owners, you've got a bazillion things to juggle. Inputs, labor, credit, competition. With everything we've talked about, what's your one practical move for this week?
For SMBs, do 3 things this week. 1, review your line of credit. Call your bank, check terms, make sure your covenants are okay in case liquidity tightens. 2, lock in key input costs if you can. Shipping, energy, raw materials, especially if your margin is thin. And 3, stress test your plan with a slower growth scenario, say 2% growth instead of 5%. See what you cut if you have to.
Amazing. Leo, this has been a dynamite start. There's so much ahead. Next, we'll deep dive into inflation components, supply chain risks, consumer credit, and the next leg in the bond market. But first, I'll hand it back to you. Give folks at home a one-line takeaway they'll remember today.
All right, here it is. Markets are doing fine, but the fuel is changing. Keep your foot on the pedal, eyes on the dashboard.